honestly, quite shocking. But this is a quote, just really quickly, and I promise I will talk to you about trans individuals playing sports. I promise. This this is. Hold on, 2 seconds. Everybody, double tap screen. Appreciate everybody being here. This is the exact quote, if I can find it. Here we go. Minnesota, Bush appointed judge, ruling on something that's not important, but well, I mean, it is really important, but also saying this. Attached to this order is an appendix that identifies 96 court orders that ICE has violated in 74 cases in January 2026. ICE has likely violated more court orders in January of 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence. Okay, we're talking about the federal government at a mass scale.
To be honest, sometimes I actually have no idea what's going on until I open Monday.com. And boom, everything's there. Statuses, timelines, budgets, all in one clear dashboard.
In my opinion, at this point, the definition of a constitutional crisis, a grave threat, I would argue the greatest threat, if you understand government, in my opinion, the greatest threat to our democracy probably since the Civil War, okay? There's 3 branches of government. Congress is completely ineffective. The executive branch isn't listening to the judicial branch, and the judicial branch is holding on by a thread. As, again, the judicial branch who interprets the law based on the Constitution is at least at some level consistently being ignored. What is the point of a constitution that we all hold so dear if the executive branch doesn't have to listen to the people who interpret the law based on the Constitution? The reason it's called constitutional crisis is because if the executive branch doesn't have to listen to the judicial branch, we might as well have Trump law. The executive branch can make up their laws. The reason I say this is because being such a grave threat to our republic, and then us being like, all right, let's talk about the other subject in politics, people playing sports. It's like, right? That kind of falls on deaf ears. Regardless, to your point, yeah, I think that there's how many, I will now address your point. Sorry for harping. How many trans athletes are there in the NCAA?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like between 5 and 10. I'm not sure.
Correct.
Okay, so even still, they're like affecting our sports. Like there's a lot of these girls, like in schools, like mostly in blue states, right? Like California, New York, or like, they let these biological men in our sports, and then there's this wannabe girl who goes by like AB, and like he was literally in the California sports, and he was like in his school sports, right? And he was playing and he always got first place, and then Trump threatened to defund California or whatever because of this, because like a lot of girls, like biological girls, were like they were playing with this boy in our sports, and they kept losing because of his strength. Like, believe it, like obviously like biological men will have like a lot of strength instead of ours. We will have less strength, and because they have more muscle mass due to their testosterone levels or through puberty. So like, how is this fair? How do you want this? Like, you're not a protector of women. Like, you claim you protect women, but you don't protect us from men in our sports or our restrooms. Like, how? Like, what is this?
Okay, yeah, so I'll answer the question. Number one, I'm fine with anybody playing any sports, and I believe that this issue, in my opinion, has been hyper politicized by specifically Republican politicians, just to like demonize trans people, because in reality, this issue has nothing to do with government. Government should play no role in this issue, in my opinion. I think that this should be up to like any given organization in sport, like the NCAA, to make these rules. And before Donald Trump and Republicans politicized trans people because they like taking these people and human beings who are trying to live their life and be the happiest possible. Before Trump tried to demonize these individuals, the NCAA did have rules on it, and it was you can play sports, and it was fine. It was fine until Republicans came along. So, yeah, I'm like it's supportive of everybody playing sports. I'm very supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, and I think like most of these individuals, like all of these individuals, excuse me, are just trying to be happy and live their lives. And if we run up on scenarios where people have, can I finish speaking? If we run up on scenarios where people have questions about specific sports and such, I would really like this to not be such the government has no role in this, in my opinion. I feel like individual leagues can figure it out, but I think that we should let sports be incredibly accessible and all people can play them. With that being said, to your last point about not Democrats not protecting women and not keeping you safe in locker rooms,
I mean, obviously,
the president of the United States rapes women. Okay, so I just don't. I just like. I have.
To be honest, I agree with that. That's why I regret my vote. But still, I don't. I stand my point that we shouldn't let these men in our sports, because like they can live happily. Yes, trans people can live like happily. Yes, they can live their lives, but we can live in reality. Don't come in our bathrooms claiming that you're a woman or a man. Don't come in our sports trying to compete with us because like against us, or because you know you will win because of your strength. And like we will never have us biological women will never have the chance to win.
I don't believe two things here. I want to first to the bathroom point. Like I don't like the suggestion that when we say like people coming in our bathrooms, like society's acceptance of people in the LGBTQ plus community or laws that are passed based on that do not change the ability for people to go into bathrooms. And I think that like we're starting with an idea. You say, I don't, people aren't comfortable if people who don't look like them go into another bathroom. If I'm in a woman's bathroom and somebody who doesn't look like a woman comes into the bathroom, that makes me uncomfortable. And thus fighting against these laws. Like nothing is stopping me right now, a straight white man. Nothing is stopping me from walking in. Like if I walked into Target tomorrow, I could probably be
doesn't make a difference.
No. But hold on. This does make a pretty key difference in my mind because nothing's stopping me from walking in the women's restroom, and I could probably be there for 5 or 10 minutes before somebody says something and something happens. Right. My point here is that we're suggesting that there's, I don't know, like a group of people who are waiting to commit potentially I don't know, a violent act or do something inappropriate, and they're just waiting for like the laws to change or society to change to give them the ability to do it. And I also feel like it kind of raises this suggestion that just because somebody is part of the LGBTQ plus community, they're more likely to, I don't know, like be creepy or commit a crime, when that's just like not the case. Like, why do what I'm trying to say here, and I actually genuinely, this is a genuine question, like why it's not like there's like a wall physically stopping me from going in the bathroom right now. Why are we all?
Doesn't make a keen difference, babes.
But it does. I feel like it makes a huge difference. Why are you acting as if these laws, like Democrats getting power and everything's going to change?
Trans women are biological men. Y'all cannot come in our restrooms. Like still, even if you present yourself as the sex you were born, you cannot come in your restrooms, regardless if you want to wear a dress or makeup or not.
Okay, but my question was like, how does the law or politics like change any of that?
So right now, if I'm right, in Texas, they don't allow trans women to go into
so what if
government building
restrooms, so you're saying that they're
school restrooms, which is good, but
well number one, I don't think that law is like stopping anyone or anything, and number two, I actually believe that law, in my opinion, if you actually understand anything,
it kind of does.
No, I actually think that this law is incredibly dangerous for people who are part of this community, and partly for, I think, would make potentially women and men more uncomfortable. 99%, you have seen many people who are transgender in your life. You've just never realized it because you usually can't tell. So like if you actually in these laws, if like people were to be forced to use the bathroom they were assigned to, the sex they were assigned at birth, I actually think what ends up occurring at some level is you have people walking into your bathroom who appear in your world male.
How does it still affect for trans women who want to be women to go into their correct assigned restroom? How does it affect them to go in there, but still be who they are, but respect like who they were, like they were born as, like what gender they were born as, and like how does it affect them to go into the male's restroom?
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear what you said, to be honest.
What?
I did not hear what you said.
Has any trans woman ever been SA'd in a men's restroom?
I don't know.
Okay, cool. And how many women have been assaulted in the women's restroom by trans women? Tell me. You can literally go search it right now. It'll tell you how many have been assaulted and the cases. But if you search up any trans woman who has been SA'd by a male in the male's restroom, it won't tell you anything because that's simply not true.
I'm going to be completely honest. Like I don't. No, it's not a C. Like I genuinely don't understand what you just said. Like I'm still confused. That seemed
Okay.
confusing to me.
So how does it affect for a male who wants to be a female to go into his correct assigned restroom, like his correct sex assigned restroom, like male, like who claims to be a trans woman and does hormones or whatever?
Yeah.
But how does it affect? Why does it affect them to go into the male's restroom?
Yeah, because I think that, like, again, I think if I'm understanding what you're trying to ask, most trans individuals who, again, just want to live their life and don't want to be a part of these conversations or these issues because they just want to be happy.
They can be happy, but they need to live in reality.
Can I speak?
We need to live in reality.
Actually, so that's that right there, right? So, like, actually, they don't need to do anything that you think they need to do. Right? Believe it or not, it used to be a core, and I this is my view as, like, see, that pisses me off. That pisses me off a lot.
You're not a protector of women.
Can I please speak? Can I finish speaking and I will answer your question? Okay. That pisses me off a lot because you say they need to live in reality. Again, just like the way we're talking about these groups is like very dehumanizing, but people don't need to do anything that you say. I'm a straight white male in America. I'm 24 years old. I've talked to people who use different pronouns than me. I've talked to people who don't look like me. And you know what? You know how often I understand fundamentally, like, why they may think that way or dress that way or whatever? I don't. I rarely ever. But I don't believe that other people are actually required to live how I live at all. I'm under the belief that if you don't hurt anybody, you should be happy. You should live how you want to live, and we should support those communities. You are showing. Can you be quiet? Appreciate that. You got one more before I just kick you out, okay? Because I just went on a whole, like, constitutional crisis thing that you don't care about, and now you're so worked up about a stupid fucking issue that's not an issue because we want to demonize fucking groups of people. Never once in my life, as a straight white male, have I ever thought about other people who don't look like me. I walk into the bathroom, I see someone who doesn't look like me, I think to myself, they're comfortable using the bathroom here, and I leave, okay? And to answer your question, the question that you're asking is, again, most individuals who are part of these communities, you would not be able to tell that I have met, I'll tell you a true story, okay? And I'm not going to use names because it's not my place. But there's somebody on TikTok here who their account is about transitioning. And they transitioned a while ago. And I apologize if I don't use the right terminology here. I'm going to try my best. I met said person, was born a woman, transitioned. I met said person on a weekend, essentially, with a group of other content creators. And for an entire day and a half, full day, chopped it up with my guy. Chopped it up. Great dude. Super fun to be around. Funny. We instantly were like, we clicked. We had, like, similar humor and stuff. And I remember talking to somebody else who was there with me, another friend of mine. We leave. I'm like, yo, bro, X name that I can't say out loud. That dude's cool as hell. He's like, yeah, bro, he is really cool. He's nice, because we were kind of annoyed by other people there. I didn't learn until the third day of this trip that this individual was born a woman. I had no idea. His content was about it. I had no idea. And I even looked at him. I was like, wow, I would have never been able to tell that, right? And the reason I'm saying this is because this issue has been so hyper-politicized by Republicans. We are under the assumption all the time, and been hyper-politicized in general, and everybody wants to get online and put a camera in their face. Most people that you meet, you are not going to be able to tell. And so, actually, to answer your question, the individual I'm referencing in my personal story, if they were to follow the law in Texas, that would mean that them appearing, I would literally argue, appearing more like a man, more, I don't know what the correct term there is, but appearing more like a man than me, full beard and everything. I can't even grow a beard. I have a baby face. They appear more masculine, if you will, than me. By your standard, that law, they would walk into the woman's restroom. Whereas right now they're walking into the man's restroom, and I guarantee for a fact not a single person has ever been able to tell. And so that is the answer to your question, which is, I actually think it would do more harm for all parties involved, especially the trans individuals who go through an immense amount of violence, like hate crimes and stuff, to be passing these laws, when in reality, people should just do what makes them happy. I answered your question, by the way. Just want to point that out. I did answer the question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So my whole point in this is that like a man who wants to be a woman should know, like we can't tell obviously, but the whole point about this is that he knows that he knows that he's a biological man, that he cannot use our restroom. That's the whole point of this. He should know that he needs to respect our privacy, regardless if he passes as a female or not. We don't want a biological male in our restrooms. Do you understand the word biological? You're not protecting us. Democratic politicians are not protecting us. They claim that they're protectors of women, but they're not protecting us from biological men in our sports. And there's a ton of people in this life who agree with me.
Can I'm harping on a previous point here because I mentioned the things that Donald Trump has done, and you said quote, that's why I regret my vote. Do you believe that Republicans and Donald Trump protect women?
So
it's a yes or no question.
Yes.
Oh my! Wait. So you hold on a second. So a second ago you agreed.
Republican politicians.
A second ago you agreed that Donald Trump essays
because they're preventing men and women's sports and men and women in men's sports.
Do you think Donald Trump is building a culture of SA right now in the United States? Because Donald Trump has been found liable, and you partly agreed to the sentence that I said.
How the hell is that different from men being in women's sports? Why are you comparing another topic to another topic? You just sound dumb at this point. You're not a protector of women. You're not protecting us. You're not protecting us. Nobody here who is a liberal is protecting us from men in our sports. This is sad. This is the reality.
The reason I went to a different topic is because you're using the term, quote, you, referring to me, quote, aren't protecting women. Democrats are not protecting women. And on the term of protecting from a fucking soccer ball, I'm referring to like cases where, women are assaulted, which I think Donald Trump has done a grave disservice to the United States, building a culture where men think that's acceptable. That's why I asked you, do you feel like Donald Trump's protecting women? Because you may be under the impression in whatever world you live in that like, I want to, Riley Gaines, came in 5th place swimming, and so like she's your hero or something.
Yes, because she was.
Can I finish? Can I finish asking you a question? She tied for 5th place, and the 4 other women came in 1st. So actually, she just fucking blows at swimming. But if your position is that Riley Gaines isn't being protected because she's a shitty fucking swimmer, then I would also assume that you also hold the position that Donald Trump, I don't know, bragging about sexually abusing women are also, he's actually in some levels, all the levels, worse at not protecting women. One is about swimming, the other is about abusing women. Do you agree with that?
The fact that you're not grasping the word biological that I keep saying is fucking dumb.
All right, bro. You know what? You were respectful. I actually do believe you were respectful. My brain can't do this anymore. And my brain can't do this anymore because the first half of this was calmer when I was talking about literal constitutional crisis. And I swear to God, if the United States ceases to exist, this will be why. Motherfuckers are the United States we are walking around with our heads shoved up our ass. People think democracy is handed to you. People forget that fucking Americans stormed the beaches of Normandy to try to save democracy in Europe. They don't understand the basics of the fucking of checks and balances. They don't understand the basics of the executive branch. You are watching it at some level. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but you have seen objectively the largest, and some people may say, Chris, you're right. It is the largest expansion of executive authority in modern American history. You're seeing a power, really, like the president now gaining immense amount of power and being able to do things he previously couldn't. Some people would argue it's happening, but it's not the end of the world. Yes, we've seen judges ignored at some point, but it's not the end of the world. It's still.
If you're struggling to edit your podcast, it's not you, it's your tools. So let's check out how Riverside makes editing super simple. Your podcast transcript is here, and you just have to edit the text, and that will edit the podcast. Super simple. You'll never edit your podcast the old way again. No podcaster has the time to clean up an hour-long conversation. That's why God gave us AI. All these are ums and awkward silences. 2 clicks, and they're gone. And to help promote your show, Riverside finds all the best parts of your podcast and turns them into social clips automatically. I mean, why would you edit the old way when you can edit with Riverside? You got to check out Riverside. You can even start for free.
Assaults women. Okay, so This shit is just, oh my God, man. Fuck. And I'm not trying to suggest that the issue is not important, right? And again, some level, all political issues are important, but like, I just really feel like this is a non-issue, right? I think it's a majority issue. I think it's not. I think it's an issue that's been hyper politicized. I really, from a fundamental political belief system, I don't believe that it's a government. It should be an issue that relates to government. Like, why should I don't believe that the government should play a role almost at all ever in healthcare. Why would I believe that the government should be regulating sports? These fucking people who believe in small government want the government to basically regulate away everything that's not a straight white man. They want to regulate women's healthcare. They want to regulate, who plays in what sports. They want to regulate who goes in what bathroom. They want to regulate all these things. We're the party of small government. I'm like, as a Democrat who fundamentally believes at some level definitely in some level, who fundamentally believes in bigger government, not in this state. This government is set up in a atrocious way. We need about 5 amendments to the Constitution. But in a perfect world where there was 5 extra amendments to the Constitution protecting democracy, I certainly believe in much bigger government. There's no question about it. But even as somebody who believes in bigger government, I don't believe that the government should have a role in sports. I don't believe that the government should have a role in healthcare. I believe the government should have a role protecting a lot of these individuals that we're talking about here that are actually the ones under assault, like members of the LGBTQ plus community, people who don't look like me, people who, people don't look like me. Anyways, oh my gosh. All right, we'll let up another MAGA. Man, you guys are showing love. People like the camera, man. I'm always doubling, tripling my views with the professional camera. Thanks for everybody over on YouTube showing all the love. I've been reading your comments. And also, I want to point out, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube, Victoria. It means so much to me, truly. I hope you know that is not something I take for granted, ever. I'm so lucky to be able to do this like every single day and just scream about what I love, which is politics. And so from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you. You mean the absolute world to me, Victoria. Natalie, I believe, thank you so much for $5. Homegirl, look up who's essaying women. Correct. I appreciate you so fucking much. The caller has never talked with a trans person, Jackie says, $2.11. Exactly. Every single conversation we have is always just like, again, this like, it's like a demonization of a community that's like the individuals just like have this, they have made up this entire idea of what other people who aren't like them are. And they're just like it's just like social media and Fox has like infected that viewpoint. I know there was somebody else, I think sent $20 over on YouTube, and I appreciate you so much, but my thing won't scroll up that much. I'm so sorry. Victoria, you're amazing. Jackie, Ebe, do a meet with Kyle. Kyle who? Kyle, question mark. Thank you guys so much for all the love on YouTube. I really appreciate you so much. You're the best. Pam Bondi disrespected survivors today. It was literally one of the worst congressional hearings, maybe ever. Or just talking points to them. I'm sorry. South Park, it's hey, one day at a time. One day at a time. All right, what's up, TikTok? What's up? I love everybody over on YouTube. We'll never get Epstein files. Yeah, it's bad. TikTok, thanks for being here. Double jab screen. We'll let up a Trump supporter. Do you believe the news about Iran? What news about Iran? Did we strike Iran? Oh, Lou, thank you. I love you. You're the best. Bro, what? I don't see any news about Iran. Okay, LJ, great to see you.
Hey, Chris, it's me again. Can I stuff and pound your cakes, please? It's me again.
Bro.
You can't
Maddie, good to see you. I joined your fan club for 1 year. That's an interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that. Do I have subs on? Is that what that means? No. Oh my God.
Yo, what's going on?
How old are you?
19.
Okay. Why do you like Trump?
Because he is the greatest president in modern history.
Why is that?
Because what he's doing with deportation.
That's it? That's what makes him the greatest president in modern American history?
Yeah, I'd say just about that.
Wow. Joe
there's more
Biden
than that.
passes more fiscal legislation than any administration in American history. Barack Obama gives tens of millions of people health care. There's so many wins for U.S. presidents, and you're going with fucking just complete nonsensical garbage. So what do you like about it?
How's it
Please-
nonsensical?
I'm actually going to let you explain the nonsensical garbage. We're all just going to listen to you make a fool of yourself. Please go ahead.
Explain what exactly?
I'm playing. You said he's the greatest president, one of the greatest presidents in modern American history because of.
I said the.
Yeah, fantastic. The greatest president in modern American history because of deportations. And so I'd love to hear you elaborate.
Oh well, because it is
Wait, Phil. Who is Phil?
Stop! No, please don't say that word. Please stop. Please no, stop. Please.
Oh, are you a troll?
No, I'm not a troll. I've debated Dean and Parker like tens of times.
And how did that go for you?
I've owned them every single time. It's been pretty easy, honestly. Can you give me 1 second? I gotta give me something.
Guys, well, everybody in the chat knows Phil, man.
Yes, they all know me because they're all. I don't want to get restricted. They're all like not good people, man.
A
But yeah,
known rage baiter? Okay, go.
I'm not a rage baiter. It's
Okay,
as simple as I debate.
dude, everyone's spamming Phil. Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay, can you give me 1 second real quick?
please.
Okay, so yes, he is the greatest president in modern American history. Because what he's doing with deportation, which opens up more jobs for the average U.S. citizen, because immigrants are working for under minimum wage, which closes up jobs for the U.S. citizens.
Anything else?
Can you respond to that point?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, two things. Three things. Number one, I don't think that there's sufficient evidence that suggests that undocumented people working are lowering wages for Americans. Second,
Well, they are.
Can I finish?
Okay, yeah.
Second point, that goes to the first point. I actually believe that from a fiscal standpoint, undocumented people have done, based on there's a Cato Institute study that was released this week or last week, I'm sorry. And it was one of the most comprehensive looks at undocumented people and their role on, and immigrants as a whole, and their role on the deficit and the debt. And with that, with reading that study, I'm firmly under the belief now that, and relating to the first point, that undocumented people have done nothing, have provided a massive net benefit to the American people from a fiscal point, including for jobs. And that is because, according to this study, what is going on, bro?
I like talking face to face. That's why.
What are you wearing, bro?
So you can get to a ski mask because Dean fans have threatened to dox me, so I just have to cover my face. But I'm sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Dude, who is Phil? Who the fuck is Phil?
Bro, stop saying that, please. Please, can we just get to the debate and can we ignore the P word stuff?
Guys, Jack, can you tell me who this guy is?
Please stop, bro. I don't want to have to do this right now. It's 2 a.m. for me. I'm trying to have a genuine one-on-one debate.
Dude, Chad is fucking dying right now with the Phil stuff. Okay.
Yeah, can we stop? Can we please say the P word, please? Please, I'm asking you nicely.
Okay, I'm going to answer your question.
Oh, yeah.
There was a Cato Institute study that came out last week that shows that undocumented people and immigrants as a whole were a massive net positive on the deficit and the debt. Undocumented people have taken in since 1994 roughly $10 trillion, have used roughly $6 trillion in benefits from the U.S. government since 1994. They have paid in taxes roughly $10 trillion. That's a $4 trillion surplus, and the debt, the amount that they have saved us, the interest on the debt, because if they are providing us a $4 trillion surplus, there's not as much debt being added, and we're not paying interest on that hypothetical debt, which means they've saved us roughly another $1.7 trillion in debt-related payments interest-related payments on debt. Immigrants as a whole, undocumented or documented, have equated to a roughly $14.5 trillion surplus for the U.S. government since 1994. A lot of this is because the money that we do spend on undocumented or documented people doesn't fluctuate based on the money the U.S. government spends doesn't fluctuate based largely on population. Our largest spends being stuff like military budget, interest on debt, NASA space programs. Those things don't fluctuate based on population. If there's more undocumented people, they are also significantly less likely to be incarcerated for crimes, even though the crime that most of them are incarcerated for, people like me can't commit. So we're not spending nearly as much money on normal citizens for them to be sitting in our prisons. They're less likely to be educated, so we're not spending money on them being educated. They're 12 percentage points more likely to be working and more likely to be working longer hours, meaning they're paying essentially more in taxes on any given idea. Not only have they been beneficial in this way, and this study highlighting that if all these individuals didn't benefit the debt in this way, that the U.S. GDP to debt ratio in 2023 would have been roughly 205%, which is astronomical. Like are essentially claiming that our economy would have been completely destroyed without all these individuals. I will end with the point that there's not enough native-born U.S. workers to work every single job. So if all these undocumented people left, it would also really hurt U.S. citizens because a bunch of U.S. businesses would close, and there's not enough U.S. citizens, not enough people in our labor force to work every single job. So businesses would be forced to close, thus actually lay off American workers who are working there and lead to massive unemployment for Americans. All the things said, I don't think undocumented people are really that bad fiscally. Maybe there's net negatives fiscally in other places. I just don't really think it's that big a deal. The way it stands.
I think it's illegal immigrants, at least, immigrants, whatever, I don't care about them. Illegal immigrants are not good for our national security. They're not good for simple basis like like I said, national security. The jobs thing, you said a whole bunch of words, but you didn't ever really respond to my point other than it helps the economy, which I think is irrelevant because they're working for under minimum wage. Yes, they still pay taxes, but they get paid under the table, so they're only paying taxes whenever they buy stuff from the grocery store.
Do you have evidence that all these individuals are being paid under minimum wage?
Well, because they all work for they don't work at like McDonald's because you'd have to have like papers to go get a job there. They work for like on farms. They work at like.
Well, I mean that's not necessarily true.
I mean, unless they steal somebody's papers.
I mean, there's also significantly there's like state law on this varies like in a lot of different places, but you can be undocumented and fill out that paperwork. You can have a tax ID number and fill out the paperwork to get direct deposits. It depends what state and municipality you're in. Also, even if that weren't the case, I'd be hard pressed to know that there aren't a lot of places that hire individuals anyway and pay them a livable wage because that's what's required by state law. But yeah, there's plenty of undocumented people who don't have a social security number but have applied through the federal government for a tax ID number or a different, I don't know the exact name of the alternative social security number if you're not a citizen. But yeah, you could use that to like apply for jobs. It just depends on the state.
Okay, well, I mean, unless they're working at like an actual business, if it's like a farm or something, they're getting paid under the table. They're getting I would have to pull up a source exactly, but they're getting paid under the table for under minimum wage.
Yeah, but I'm also still not convinced that even if there's a swath of people getting paid under the table, that all of them are getting paid under minimum wage. You just have to source that.
So you're saying that somebody who owns a farm or owns a small business or something is going to pay them as much as a normal person with the risk of them getting deported and just like losing out of a job?
They may, yes.
Yes, that's why they pay under minimum wage.
No, well, first of all, again, that's just how you feel.
No, that's how it is.
No, it's not. No. It's not how it is. It's how you feel. I'm not sure that. Hold on. Can I finish speaking? Not only do you not have any statistical evidence for it, but I could make a perfectly logical argument back to that, which is somebody who owns a business who's hiring full-time workers. If somebody who's, let's say, not documented comes in and says, I want to be paid under the table, I want to be paid the same as everybody else, but because I'm getting paid under the table and I'm undocumented, I'm not asking for benefits. So you don't have to pay me health insurance. You don't have to pay me dental, all these things that a lot of these businesses will provide. And so a business owner will agree and say, okay, I'll pay you the normal rate. And they are actually maybe in your world, they may be happy because they say, I don't have to give these individuals benefits. Furthermore, even if that wasn't the case, I actually am under the belief that there's a lot of business owners who just would believe it's morally wrong to pay somebody under minimum wage. I'm sure it happens in places, but to suggest that just because somebody's undocumented and a business owner has the opportunity to pay someone under minimum wage, I don't know that that necessarily means that they will pay somebody under minimum wage. We all have the opportunity to do things that aren't fucking right all the time. I mean, my mom could, like, if I'm at my mom's house, she could like leave her wallet on the table and I could be strapped for cash. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to take $20 from her because like there's a moral boundary there, but whatever.
Well, I think they would still why would you take the risk of them getting deported and you getting in trouble for hiring?
I don't know, but I also don't care because we could go back and forth about how we both feel about this. Regardless, you've made a claim and you have no evidence to back it up because I don't think that evidence.
I can pull up a source.
Please.
Okay, let me pull up a source.
Do you work for ICE, bro?
Do I work for it? And if I did, would there be a problem with that?
I mean, I'm just asking a yes or no question.
Anyway, so
you look like you're about 12 years old, but honestly, I mean, they lower the requirements for ICE, so you could literally be 18 and like.
Not look like
Do you work?
So, what was I pulling up?
Can you answer the question I asked you?
No.
Do you work for ICE?
No.
You don't work for ICE?
No.
What do you do for a living?
No. What was I pulling up a source for? Again, I forgot. Immigrants getting paid for under minimum wage.
And also, like, even if you can like prove that this is happening, which I didn't say it wasn't happening, I want you to be able to prove that it's happening at a mass scale, causing people to, I don't know, have lower wages overall.
Yeah. So, have to.
Liar. Can you tell me why you dislike the name Phil? And why are people saying sea turtle?
Oh,
Before you pull up your source, let's take a time out. That doesn't really sound like a blah, blah, blah. Please, can you just elaborate on that for a moment?
So basically, sea turtle radiation is a radiation that can transmit through a TV or device that can infiltrate your mind, opening up your spiritual third eye, and make you see past spells and manipulation tactics. And I teach this all the time on my page.
How do I get that?
How do you get the spells?
This shit sounds like fucking Naruto, dude. Can I like Goku this, like Kamehameha or something? How do I? Wait. So I'm sorry. Can you describe it again? So if it's playing through my TV, then I'm good, or I'm not.
So basically, the video is called 8 Hours Relaxing Music with Sea Turtles in Hawaii by Escapes. It's a radiation that can because sea turtles hold radiation. I mean, you can do your own research. It transmits through your TV, infiltrates your mind, opens up your spiritual third eye, which can make you see past spells and manipulation tactics by Dean Withers or Parker Get a Job or Santana Speak Grifts for You, Parker Grift a Job, Dean Grifters, Matt the Libertarian or whatever, any of them. You can see past all of their spells and manipulation tactics. Basically, I don't know. It's a big long thing.
How does the radiation from a sea turtle get through the TV?
Well, because it transmits through the TV and like it can infiltrate your mind. You don't have to watch it. You just have to like be in the same room as the TV that's playing the sea turtle radiation, and it can transmit, infiltrating your mind and open up.
But you're claiming that sea turtles actually, like actual sea turtles, physical sea turtles, have some amount of radiation?
Yes.
Okay, and that's getting through the TV.
Yes, by watching it, it can transmit through your TV.
But how is that happening? I
don't know. I mean, I could pull up exactly how it happens, but I don't necessarily like the other day. Dean Withers gave me like a stomach bug, so like I watched some sea. I was throwing up and stuff, and I watched some sea turtle radiation, and I didn't puke at all.
How did Dean Withers give you a stomach bug?
Oh, because he casted a spell on me. That's why. Because like he tries to do all kinds of things. Like he's a grift. I don't know. He's like a grifter. He casts spells on me, and basically he casted a bug spell on me, and I got a stomach bug. because I was watching the Super Bowl. Then I wake up the next morning, I'm puking everywhere and stuff, and yeah, so he casted a spell on me, and simply I turned on some sea turtle radiation, and I didn't throw up anymore.
Got it. For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
Get back to the debate.
Yep.
Okay, so I was looking up what exactly. Can you remind me?
Undocumented people lowering wages for.
Oh yeah. Okay. Unauthorized immigrants appear more likely to be paid below minimum wage than other workers. Let me give you an exact source. Hold on. I was reading off of. Is this like something you do?
No, I'm staring at the chat here. Continue. I'm listening.
Let me hold on. Let me get you a source real quick. So the work. Hold on. Let me give you a good one. I don't know if this is a reliable or good source here, but or why are you looking at me like that?
Phil, or I don't know your name. Appreciate you being respectful. I'm mad confused, dude. Chat is. Yo, Taylor, good to see you. Chat's got me dying over here, dude. I don't know what is going on. Bruh. Sea turtle radiation, dude. Bro, why does YouTube not let me see? I see people being so kind to let to be sending super chats, and I can't. They disappear after a while. How do I go back and be seeing them, bruh? Oh wait, I did it. Jackie, thank you so much for $11. You guys are so kind. I never take this for granted. Please know that I love you. I am so grateful to be able to talk to people. I talk to people about stuff about politics. I care about this so much. And the fact that anyone would be willing at all to donate monetarily means the absolute, literally means the world to me. I can't say it enough. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Jackie, $11 is crazy. That's literally that's 2 crisp Celsiuses tomorrow morning, because I drink 2 Celsiuses every morning back to back. Some people tell me, Chris, that's 400 milligrams of caffeine. That's a lot. I say, I think it's just fine. His name is Creed, I think. He does not respect the names. Oh, so the internet has turned on him and named him Phil as to not respect his name, because apparently he doesn't respect the names of transgender people. I understand. Jackie, thank you for clearing that up. And thank you for the $11. It means a lot. Phil, his name is then. I like that a lot. Bro, Holler, $30 on YouTube, literally insanity. That is, again, so kind. That's like a quick grocery trip. That's a full last meal. Multiple, I should say. That's a big meal. Large, depending on where you go. Food's expensive. Trump's tariffs. But truly, genuinely, it means a lot. Thank you so much, Holler. Coming here from your vid on the Adam Mockler Show. Excited to see more from you. Great debate so far. Thank you. Actually, I haven't been live on YouTube doing debates in a while, but I kind of want to make this a more consistent thing. It's fun. It's very fun. Oh, and also, Jackie, you sent $6.66. Caller is stupid. I support your mission, Chris. Thank you. You're the best. Oh, my goodness. And chat, $20. You guys are so fucking kind. Thank you, Jackie, for the $6.66. Good stride to break through on that fool. You're doing good work. David, thank you so much. You guys are literally fucking incredible. I appreciate each and every one of you. Chris is a great person, Dark Sunray says. No, you, Dark Sunray. You're too kind. I love all of you. Thank you so much. You're the best. Food was expensive under Biden. Yeah, things were expensive under Biden. The difference is that I don't believe it was Joe Biden's fault. Donald Trump and inflation under Trump is directly the cause of Donald Trump. I think the inflation under Biden, there's no evidence that it was caused by Joe Biden. I am only talking to Higby. Oh boy. Higby, listen to me.
What's popping?
Listen, Higby. We're talking about Trump. And I have tried to get you to argue about Trump for a long time. Now that you work wherever you work. Where do you work?
I don't work anywhere. I work for myself.
You work for yourself. Now you're free to talk about whoever you want.
Wait, in terms of what?
In terms of just, well, I mean, before you were.
Oh, you're talking about when I was working for a 501c3, so I couldn't talk about politics.
Correct. Well, there's no laws anymore because of your boy. So, I mean, you probably could.
No, that's not true. But
is Turning Point USA a 501c3?
Turning Point Action is, I think. I'm not sure. I don't work for Turning Point.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I contract for Turning Point Frontlines, but that's like a separate entity.
Okay. Anyways.
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'd like to talk about specific issues. I can't stay on that long because my girlfriend's on her way home from the airport right now, and I'm kind of doing like an early Valentine's Day thing for her.
Oh.
But I saw that you were live, so I thought I'd come up. I'm interested in talking about specific issues if you want to talk about like ICE, etc. I'm not terribly interested in debating that Trump is the worst president, considering it's like a subjective opinion. But
okay, well, let's talk a little bit about ICE. I'll give you 5 minutes because you have been at a lot of these events, these protests.
A lot of them.
You were in Chicago, but I missed you.
I was in Chicago. Oh, did you go to Chicago? Oh yeah. Wait.
I live in Chicago now.
Right. That's what I thought. Yeah.
So
I tried to meet up with you.
Cam, I apologize, but answer me this: like ICE has been not only in these predominantly blue areas, militarizing, I would describe as militarizing our cities and taking some of these actions. But also something I'm very passionate about is that ICE has consistently been violating court orders as the executive branch has been hyper expanded and they do whatever they want whenever they want. I was citing a court order actually from a judge in Minnesota this week or last week. I'm sorry. A Bush appointed judge appointed in 2006 who said that ICE is, I think the exact quote was, attached to this order is an appendix of like 96 court orders.
Yeah,
ICE,
I saw your video.
Yeah. ICE has likely violated more court orders this month than any agency. Some agencies have violated in their entire life.
It said some agencies.
No, it said then. Okay, yeah, sure. Some agencies have violated in their entire life. Sure. But like, do you not see a constitutional issue here with the violations in the law?
Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on what court is issuing the violations, what the violations actually are, and if they're actually violations, as opposed to whether or not there's speculation that a violation occurred. I think the biggest issue that ICE is facing right now is on the ground resistance, violently, specifically, which causes them to be required to deploy more troops just as support troops. So, like when in Minneapolis, when ICE sends out a team to carry out an operation to deport, some homicidal maniac or a pedophile. Now they also need to send a support unit with them to push off protesters, because anywhere ICE operates in Minneapolis or the greater Minneapolis area, they're going to be met with resistance because they have these signal chats that coordinate on federal authorities, and they find them every time. And I know because I've used the signal chats to find them.
Ken's, that's a great point. Exactly what I was going to say. Okay, so with that, and I think like to zoom out just a little bit, like number one, again, like there's no way that if we zoom out, there's no way that the role of the federal government, or if you are the commander in chief, you're watching this happen and you're watching at some level citizens be so upset by the actions that you're taking by sending these large groups of people, ICE or National Guard or both, into these places, and you're watching how those communities are reacting. Number one, I find it hard to believe that a true leader doesn't immediately say, okay, we're clearly doing something wrong, even if we want to
totally disagree.
Hold on, even if we want to have a targeted attack of people who are committing violent crimes, we can do it in a different way, because I don't know, the citizens in these communities are upset. Instead of, again, I feel like what we're doing right now is the president of the United States is playing a role in fanning the flames as if he's not, again, supposed to be he's supposed to be the leader of the most powerful country on earth. That's number one. But number two, part of the reason those citizens are protesting and are upset is the first point I made, which is like, if we're watching ICE continue to violate the law, then people are obviously going to protest and be questioning when ICE says, oh, like recently, ICE says, and the DHS, we see Liam Ramos and that ordeal go super viral. A 5-year-old boy, immediately DHS is, Pam Bondi are in front of a camera, in front of the screen saying, that boy's father was undocumented and he's a piece of shit. So he ran away from Liam Ramos, and those officers stayed with the boy. And then we would find out from a judge last week that actually both of them had legal status, and he ordered their removal. So when you're seeing ICE continue to
wait, that doesn't mean anything. Wait, so you can still deport people even if they have legal status,
okay,
if they violated their visa, etc. There are lots of good reasons you can deport somebody who has legal status. But not only that, Chris, let's just be very clear. Just because citizens are upset about something and making resistance doesn't mean the federal government is doing something wrong. I can cite you two very notable examples.
Sure.
Of this.
I already know what you're
One
going to
is
say.
the American. What am I going to say?
You're gonna start talking about Jim Crow in the South and integrating.
No. That's not what I was. Well,
Okay.
That's another good example.
That is a good example. Hold on.
One second, Chris.
Okay. I just want to point out that's not the claim I made, but continue.
I let you talk. Yeah, exactly what you said.
It's not what I said.
I want to be very clear. I let you talk.
Okay,
You don't
go
even
ahead.
know what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
Exactly what you said was that if the people are in the streets and they're upset about this, the federal government should have introspection and realize they're doing something wrong. I'm going to cite you two very notable examples of the people being very upset about something, and they're upset for the wrong reason. The number one example is going to be the American Civil War, where the entirety of the South filed articles of secession against the United States, and the number one reason they cited was they were afraid Lincoln would take their slaves away. The federal government wasn't doing anything wrong. In fact, they were doing something right. And the next example I'm going to cite to you is January 6th. The people, the citizens of the United States, a lot of them, over 100,000, gathered around the U.S. Capitol, and a large portion of them breached the Capitol building, and they stormed the grounds. Okay, people are upset, but is the federal government doing anything wrong? No, they're transitioning power to a duly elected president. Should the federal government be changing what they're doing? No. Should the federal government be changing what they're doing now? Yeah, in my opinion, yeah, they should deploy the National Guard and go harder. Because what we're seeing in the streets right now is an active insurrection against the federal government of the United States. I have their handbooks that specifically instruct their people to create flashpoints of orchestrated chaos around federal operations wherever they find them, and they find them every single time. Flashpoints that could potentially get agents killed or get their own people killed. And I'm not speculating that. They say it in the handbook. Not only that, if Minneapolis Police Department and the Minnesota State Police were doing their jobs and preventing people from carrying out an insurrection in their state, Renee Good would be alive and Alex Preddy would be alive. They wouldn't be dead. Both of those people were a part of that organized insurrection coordinated through the signal chats.
Okay, couple points here. Number one, to the first point that you made about there being reasonable reasons if somebody has legal status to deport them. Sure, the case I referenced was not one of those cases, and it was a good example of the federal government and DHS lying to our faces. They say immediately when the Liam Ramos thing blows up that the people on the left are all about empathy. They don't care about the facts. They don't care. And Liam Ramos got left. His father ran away from him, and they're both undocumented. When we learned not only was that not the case, but they both had legal status. The claim was not that they had legal status and they were going to be deported. The claim was that they were both undocumented, so the father ran, when in reality, the father didn't run, and a federal judge ruled for their release, and now they are back together. That is a good example, I think, again, among the many others of ICE violating people's constitutional rights or the federal government overall.
But you don't have a constitutional right not to be detained by federal immigration authorities when you're here on a visa.
Okay, then I'm sorry. Let me rephrase then. Number one, there's two separate things. Number one, there's examples of ICE and the federal government violating people's constitutional rights / deporting people, I think, without due process. Federal judge ruled.
In what case?
Yeah, sure. There was a 2-year-old U.S. citizen who a Trump-appointed judge said was likely deported without reasonable due process.
That child was given to the custody of their parents. Who was deported.
Yeah, of course.
Not the same thing.
Wait, no. Wait. Can I let you? Hold on. I let you. Speak, Cam. But you would agree that it is still federal law
the
that we cannot
federal
deport
government
U.S.
doesn't-
citizens.
Chris, can I speak? The government doesn't decide where you go in this case. Your parents decide.
Yeah,
where
and
you
that's
go.
the problem. The problem is that the judge in this case is best suited to decide which parent, because both the parents were separated, the child should go with. And as he said in his court order, the government providing
Is this a family
hold on.
court or an
Can
immigration court?
I finish speaking? The judge providing, the government providing this note and saying, in Spanish, this is the mother, I want my child. As he pointed out, the judge, that may be the government's opinion, but the court doesn't know that to be true. You have given this to the court, but we have no evidence that it's true, and therefore, I don't know, we'd like to talk to the mother or talk to the father. But regardless, the child is gone now, and we'll see what happens next month. It's unfortunate. Now, because I know you have to go soon, before we get caught up on this, because I think there's actually other good examples of this. I think Kilmar Abrego Garcia is one of them. But back to going all the way back to your original point about this, which is in these instances that we are talking about, with judges making these rulings and giving cited examples of ICE violating court.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
In this case, Liam Ramos wasn't deported, but the government still looked at us and lied about his legal status, clearly for political reasons, because the DHS has been completely hyper-politicized. Then obviously citizens are going to end up protesting when ICE is in their communities, especially when ICE is in their communities for political reasons, because you only send ICE and the National Guard to places like fucking Minnesota when a 23-year-old or when a 22-year-old posts a YouTube video about non-existent fraud, and it's good for you politically to go send a bunch of ICE agents there and film it. That's there was a huge of course they were there months before, but there was a huge surge of agents after the Nick Shirley video.
Yeah, why do you think?
Because
they started an active resistance in Minnesota and support troops were necessary.
No, it's because
I was there the whole time.
I'm
telling you.
After the Nick Shirley video, was there a surge of agents in Minnesota?
Yes, because there was a surge of resistance, violent resistance.
There was a surge of violent resistance because of a YouTube video? That doesn't even make any sense.
Absolutely it makes sense. People were pissed off about the video, so they took to the streets.
What? I think people were pissed off about the fact that there was a massive surge in agents. I'm denying the reason that there was a surge of people.
Chris, he was talking to me. Are you denying the fact that there was a massive surge in violent resistance on the ground in Minneapolis following the Nick Shirley video?
I'm denying that that's the reason for whatever surge in resistance, if that's what you want to call it.
Resistance in quotation. Chris,
I'm denying.
I was almost killed repeatedly in Minnesota. For you to call it do the air quotes.
Wait, we can't hear you. Hold on, Cam. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
Hold on, Cam.
Hello.
I'm actually not even trying to interrupt you. I just can't hear you. Unless that was me. Unless that was like my mic.
Can you hear me now?
Can you guys hear him? Or did he completely get cut off?
Can you hear me now?
Wait, chat, can you guys hear him?
Hello?
Oh, you can hear him. Hold on, Cam. What the fuck?
What I was saying, I was repeatedly almost killed in Minnesota. So, can you hear me now?
Bro, my
Chris?
headphones just turned off.
It's all good. Well, I should probably go down anyway. My girlfriend's going to be home from the airport any second. Now I think we can't hear you now, Chris.
Hello? Bro, what the fuck? Hold on.
Cheryl, you don't have to believe me that I was almost killed in Minnesota. The videos are on the internet. The videos are present. I was repeatedly hunted down in Minnesota, nearly killed. I had to have armed security. I had people threatening to kill me repeatedly. I had people threatening to shoot me, saying they had guns on them. My armed security had to defend me repeatedly. Can you hear me now, Nick?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah, but I can also hear myself.
Yeah, because you're coming through my speakers. Hold on one second.
It's all good.
Oh, wait. Oh, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you. Wait, I think we're back. Chad, I think we're back. Okay, I'm sorry. So what were you saying?
I was just saying I didn't appreciate the air quotes for resistance when I was almost killed repeatedly.
Okay, then we can talk about that. I'm actually happy to talk about that. I just wanted, before we started to dive into the definition of that, I was trying to avoid that so we could just agree on or I could make my point clear that I don't believe any increase in escalation, which we can discuss what that escalation is in a second. I don't believe that that was because of a video. I believe that after the video, the federal government surged agents there because, again, and this is lit. I do want to be able to zoom out here and say that the president of the United States and top law enforcement officers listening to a 22-year-old YouTuber who made a video full of just like nonsense and things that we have already previously known. And then within, 24 or 48 hours or whatever it was within the week, surging agents at place just shows like an unbelievable A, level of incompetence from these people, but B, a hyper politicization of these branches. So I believe that it came after ICE and agents flooded there because the government wanted to hyper politicize this, get cameras on it. It's good for Trump politically. And then people in Minnesota obviously we're upset. That's my position.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'll respond. It could be that more agents were sent to Minnesota for dual purpose. But I'm telling you, as a response to the video, more people came out in resistance. They were already resisting before the video, and they came out in larger numbers afterwards. We know that a primary reason for the federal government deploying more troops to Minnesota was in response to the resistance because it was a staircase. As the weeks went on and resistance got more violent and more agents got hurt, more agents were deployed. We know that to be a fact. We know that it was the publicly stated reason from the federal government. But not only that, are we pretending that the rampant Somali fraud in Minnesota is not a legitimate reason to deploy the National Guard, to deploy additional immigration officers when these people were on TPS and TPS is not in effect anymore? And many of them aren't legally in this country. I think it's absolutely a valid reason. And to pretend that I don't think you actually said that the fraud isn't happening. I think you said we know about it already, but clearly enough is not getting done about it because it's rampant. And it's not just rampant in Minnesota, it's rampant in Washington state. And what they're doing is the daycares and the other facilities are taking their payments and they're trying to hide their contributions to political campaigns to Somali candidates by doing it across state lines. So Minnesota daycares will donate and contribute politically to Somali candidates in Washington and Ohio. Washington daycares will donate to Minnesota and Ohio will donate to Minnesota and Washington. I know this because I did my own investigation in Washington and I tracked the payments. And they're receiving millions of dollars in subsidy.
So, number one, to the point about the quote Somali fraud. Yeah, I mean, obviously, and I already know what I'm going to say, which is that, obviously there was like indictments around this in 2022 or 2023 or whatever year it was, like 55 people under the Biden DOJ in Minnesota around this particular issue. It's obviously been talked about extensively on locally in Minnesota for a long time. The prosecutor who's like the main prosecutor for a lot of this fraud talked about in the past few years how the fraud is incredibly extensive. And I don't know, I forget the exact interview where like he's having trouble it's like a big black hole and it's insane. And like he was slamming Democrat politicians like Tim Walz at the time saying, they're not doing enough. I think the idea, even if you are under the belief, which I'm not sure I am, but let's just assume I am for a second. If you're under the belief that not enough is being done about it, then that was well established in those circles, years ago by these prosecutors. I want to point out the main prosecutor resigning 2 weeks ago because the DOJ pressured him to bring charges against Renee Good's partner. He said it was inappropriate. He said, I will only do it if you open an investigation into the ICE agent who shot and executed Renee Good. The DOJ refused, so he resigned. So actually, I don't know that much is going to get done in the way of fraud because the main prosecutor who's been working on it for 10 years and slamming all the Democrats on Fox News just resigned because Trump's DOJ is hyper politicized, but whatever.
Minnesota is rotten to its core. And if you're saying that the prosecutor, Minnesota's government is absolutely rotten to its core. And you want to know like a really good example of this is multiple times when I was on the verge of losing my life, calling 911 and the police basically telling me to go fuck myself is a pretty good indication that their government is rotten to its core. They were under a stand down order. And I know that for a fact. If the local authorities had been doing their jobs, Renee Good and Alex Preddy would be alive today. Not only that, like just to understand how pervasive this issue is. Like in Washington, in the greater Seattle area, I would go to a daycare that is receiving over $1 million a year in subsidies and ask them, hi, is this blah, blah, blah daycare? Is this Halali daycare? No, there's no daycare here. I then talk to the neighbors. I've never seen children there. It's not a daycare. But this is the publicly listed address for an organization that's receiving millions of dollars in subsidies. It's the most recent address on the inspection paperwork. blah, 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 blah. They're making political contributions to daycares in Minnesota. What the hell? What's going on here? So when you have prosecutors or a government that's unwilling to work with the prosecutors that are already not that good in Minnesota or Washington or wherever it is, and these people are on TPS and you have grounds to deport them, seems like a pretty sufficient way to deal with the issue outside of charging them with fraud. They don't go to jail, they get sent home, and you don't have to root out a giant ring of fraud.
Can I ask a question about all of that?
Sure.
If you believe then that with all of that, if I were to, with all of that, you then believe that the federal government should actually ramp up its effort. Well, I guess we just learned today that like there's been some, I don't really understand where we're at. I guess they like decreased, they like pulled the National Guard or a lot of troops at a lot of these places.
This supports my point, Chris. Why did they do that? Do you know why they did that?
Probably because like they need a political off ramp because people are pissed.
No, that's not why at all, because they're still conducting operations. I'm in the signal chats right now and they're like pleading. The situation is the same. The reason, and this supports the claim I made earlier, that the reason they deployed more troops was because they were dealing with resistance on the ground. The reason that they have now pulled troops out of Minnesota is because the local authorities, state police and Minneapolis Police Department, are actually protecting the agents and doing their job to prevent violent resistance on the ground. So that's why they pulled troops out. They don't need the support units
So
anymore.
you believe that the federal government should actually be ramping these things up and sending in the National Guard to all these places and cracking down harder?
Well, to be very clear, the reason I think that National Guard should be deployed is not to carry out law enforcement action. The reason I think the National Guard should be deployed is because the National Guard under Title 10 cannot do law enforcement action in the streets of the states. They can act as a security force for federal facilities. So why is it that ICE struggles in Minnesota and how to deploy more guard? Because simultaneously, while in the neighborhoods, ICE is meeting violent insurrection. At the Whipple Federal Building, which is their base of operations in Minnesota, they are also meeting violent resistance. They're getting their windows smashed out, their taillights kicked out, et cetera, et cetera. They need a strong front at the Whipple Federal Building, which requires agents. Who's doing it right now? FPS, the Federal Protective Service, and ICE. Okay, so if you have National Guard now to protect the building, the agents that are running security duty can now go out to the streets and resume their regular activities, and you have more manpower. I'm not saying the National Guard can be parked on every corner. I'm saying the National Guard should be stationed at the Whipple Federal Building, and the rest of the federal agents should be working in the streets.
And you don't believe that, and I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to let you go be with your girlfriend and cycle people because it's 1:40 and I'm getting tired. But it actually, even though you're wrong about all this, it's good to talk to you. It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
And I just find it stunning that you believe, even with all of that said, that believe that the role of the federal government and or leadership capability, Donald J. Trump, is not to tone all of this down.
Why should it be? The thing is,
because
like, this wasn't an issue. This wasn't an issue like less than a decade ago. Nobody complained when Obama did it. Nobody complained when Bush did it. Nobody complained when Clinton did it. Nobody complained when Bush Sr. did it. It was all okay. But now suddenly, and I'm telling you why.
That's so disingenuous. You know that's so disingenuous.
Don't like you. You know the socialists don't.
You know that
the far lefties hate you, and I'm telling you, these people are all coordinated by far lefties. The people in charge of these group chats are literal fucking socialists.
I want to say two things. Number one,
they're the ones ramping up
the first point was like insanely disingenuous. There's obviously like key differences between even Obama's deportation program and how he went about that and Donald J. Trump. And I think in that, the hyper politicization, which I think is a really important piece of this, of these agencies and their unwillingness, because they're so hyper politicized, because they've been flooded with loyalists, to listen to, for example, federal judges.
Chris, it's only political. It's only political. First of all actions in the federal government are political, but it's only hyper politicized now because people suddenly have an issue with it. The difference is Obama didn't receive violent pushback on the ground when ICE did operations. The difference is Trump offers an off-ramp for these people. Self-deport yourself. You have a pathway to come back to the United States. We'll give you $1,000.
Strong disagree. Right. Again, like the federal government operates now in a way that is significantly different than it ever has because of Donald Trump signing things like the executive order Schedule F, hyper politicizing these three-letter agencies in a way that's never been done before. And even if you agree,
they've always been political.
No, disagree. There has always been
J6, the FBI. You don't think that was raiding Trump's house?
No,
you don't think that was political?
No, I actually don't. I think for all of modern America,
can I finish? Raiding Trump's house was absolutely political. Raiding James O'Keefe's
I disagree.
Was absolutely.
I disagree.
Political.
I think
Chris,
I can disagree. I will explain why.
Chris, 1 second. You can't simultaneously say that an agenda of mass deportation is more political than raiding the former
But it's
president's
actually
house.
not about the agenda. It's about how the agenda is carried out. And for all of modern American history, these three-letter agencies, at least day to day, have been largely independent from the presidency, shielded from political pressure. And Donald Trump and a bunch of the very hyper-conservative people around him, like Russ Vought, for example, have fought for 2 or 3 decades on the idea that actually the federal government should be set up in a radically different way. It should be set up essentially, we should advocate for unitary executive theory. This is exactly what was outlined. You're going to get very mad, but let me finish. This is exactly what was outlined. The argument for unitary executive theory was outlined in Project 2025. This is this exact issue, the way I'm describing three-letter, 6 months before the election. And right now, again, it's not about the agenda. I'm going to try to fucking fix my goddamn camera.
Nothing has fundamentally changed.
No, everything. That is so incorrect.
In fact, the guy who was running immigration operations under Obama is the same guy.
Yeah, I know, Tom Homan. Yeah, no. I want to say two things. Okay, now I'm back.
Obama pinned a medal.
I understand that Obama pinned a medal on Tom Homan. But before I go there, I just want to say again, literally the federal government and the way it operates now, the executive branch, it's radically different in the way it operates than any other period in American history. And again, it is, and it's because Donald Trump and these people like Russ Vought running on the idea of unitary executive theory, these three-letter agencies being shielded from political pressure for, again, almost all of modern American history. It's why the DOJ, it would be inappropriate for the president to speak on ongoing investigations within the DOJ independence, as it's been called. Joe Biden asked, hey, what do you think about your son being indicted? Him saying, that's not my business. Let the DOJ do what they do. Right now, Donald Trump on his first day in office signed Schedule F, essentially gives him the ability to mass fire civil servants, replace them with loyalists. And we've seen via these executive orders, some of which I have read and made videos about, that now, again, for the first time ever, these three-letter agencies, the FBI, the CDC, the EPA, the SEC, they are required at some level when they are making big decisions to go through the White House first, to ask the White House what the White House thinks about this. And that is an expansion of executive authority, giving the president the sole ability to wield these three-letter agencies to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. That's something we've never seen before. And it's not a giant conspiracy. It's not, hold on. No. It's not a giant conspiracy. It's something that that conservatives and that hardline conservatives around Donald Trump right now have been fighting for this moment, for the government to be set up this way for 20 and 30 years. 20 years ago, these people who believe in unitary executive theory were seen as psychopaths, and now Russ Vought has his wet dream every single day. The reason I say all this is because Donald Trump implementing these actions, and again, when we see the DHS, when we see Pam Bondi, the attorney general, even today with the Epstein files, being so hyper political, when we see Donald Trump ordering his DOJ to do things, failed indictments with people like Letitia James, James Comey, failed indictments against, now we see today, several Democrats in the House, they couldn't get a grand jury. These are unprecedented things. The Department of Justice in DC for 20 years before this administration had a failure rate of 0.5%. 0.5% of their cases got thrown out. The DOJ is shoot to kill. They win 99% of their cases nationwide. You either plea out or you're going to trial and you're cooked. Okay. Right now in DC for 20 years, their failure rate was 0.5%. The last 8 months in DC, cases filed by the DOJ, their failure rate is 23%. Why? Because everybody in the DOJ who was there left because they were being told to do things that they didn't believe they should be doing. And now the people at the DOJ, who are indicting Letitia James, that woman who indicted Letitia James has never prosecuted a criminal case in her life. She used to work at an insurance firm. The last 2 prosecutors said there wasn't enough evidence. They were pushed out. They resigned. All of these things and the way that the president is able to direct these people to do these things is unprecedented. And therefore, Barack Obama deporting people and saying, hey, this is my goal. Fantastic. Violent criminals. Barack Obama trying to do that with a group of non-hyper-political people is significantly...
The people who have families who have families in the middle of the country are no less guilty than the people who just crossed the border.
They might be no less guilty, but...
And why is Trump not doing that on the border? Because he's closed the border down. There's a 97% reduction in crossings. No gotaways.
Which I think is bad, by the way. I think the border... Yeah, I think the border being, obviously I don't support people like crossing the border illegally. I think the border being completely shut down is not good.
It's not completely shut down. People are still crossing the border.
Yeah, obviously at like a significantly lower rate. And part of what,
No,
part of what we're talking about.
definitely not. Have you been to Texas? They still cross the border every day. and
Yeah,
come
but
up to
of
Texas.
course people cross the
Legally.
border, but the legal immigration that we've seen from both Canada and Mexico has gone down quite a bit. Just tourism in the United States overall is down, which I think is a massive problem. And obviously the ability to get into the United States legally is harder now, is more strict at least some level. And what I would support is like a massive immigration reform. Joe Biden supported the strictest border bill of all time. Donald Trump killed that bill, whatever. If Donald Trump actually cared about this issue, he wouldn't executive order shut down the border. He would have, I don't know, used the fact that he has the House and the Senate and the presidency to sign massive border immigration. But that's not helpful to him. Border reform. But that's not helpful to him politically. It's why he signed less legislation than any administration up to this point in 70 years. Okay, before you give a closer, I promise I'm going to shut up because I've been talking for literally 5 minutes straight. My last point is this. It is significantly different the way that these things are carried out and executed, and the ability for the federal government to ignore judges under Donald Trump than any other time. And that's why I think it's different. Go ahead.
Yeah, I fundamentally disagree with you. The three-letter agencies in the government have always carried out the agenda of the president. On top of that,
not what I said.
Well, you said that they.
I'm going to let you close. I'm just not going to say anything. I'm going to let you close.
Let me close.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I actually think that the president has shown incredible restraint with the amount of power he's used, to the degree of actually like extremely pissing me off personally. Trump had every reason to deploy the Insurrection Act for Minnesota. He had every grounds to do it. He's also had every grounds to use Title 10, 12406 and deploy the National Guard. There's only 3 requirements for that. A, you can't enforce federal law with regular troops. B, there's a rebellion. And then the last one is something irrelevant to do with foreigners. I can't remember. But anyway, Title 10, 12406, Trump has had absolute reason to use it and hasn't, to the point of actually like pissing me off because it's been dangerous in the streets. People have been physically hunting me down. Not just me, lots of other people. Nick Sorter was repeatedly attacked brutally. So like the idea that Trump is just like trying to flail as much power physically possible is just absurd. He's had every reason to deploy the Insurrection Act and just start arresting people with the military in the streets and hasn't. Anyway, that's my closer. It was good talking to you, Chris.
Cam, it was good talking to you. I'll let you go. We'll talk again soon. Have a good time with Valentine's Day with your girlfriend, all right, man?
I'll come in if you're alive.
All right, man. All right, man. Sounds good. Bye. Peace. Oh my God. I couldn't keep all the points straight in my head, dude. I'm getting tired. It's 2 a.m. Jesus. Man, Cam. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Timberly, thank you so much for $20 on PayPal. I appreciate you so much. $20 is literally insane. Brittany, I'm going to read that in a second. That's really funny. $20, Timberly, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That is literally so kind. I never take that for granted. Sorry. I know people in the chat right now, and don't worry, I noticed this, are like, you should have been harder on him or these things. This is, and again, I don't know. I feel like, okay, I fucking lost my camera again. I feel like TikTok live debates these days, just social media in general, especially the political space, could use, I don't know, a bit more goddamn authenticity. And there is a point in the night I try relentlessly to fucking, as the night wears on, I start to get more, my brain starts to get like more and more like I have less ability to fight back against every claim. And I also am like a human being and I get tired. And so I've talked to Cam before. I've met Cam in person a long time ago, arguably when he was less insane. No offense, Cam. But I just like have less and less ability to like scream and yell. Yeah, I'm just, it's kind of like when I debated Michael Knowles on Bar Fight. He does this like YouTube show. It's actually pretty fun. Harry Sisson and I debated Michael Knowles in like a, bro, I'm not insane. Michael Knowles in a bar full of a bunch of MAGA. Like it was an hour and a half straight of like yelling and trying to debate Michael Knowles. And like the last 20 minutes, I burned out. I couldn't, my brain just like can't do the same. Even though that might not be really noticeable on video, but in my head, I was just like, oh my God, I don't have, like, I'm listening to things, but they're not garnering the same, like, emotional reaction as they normally do, or the same reaction. But thank you so much, Kimberly, for $20 on PayPal. I never, ever, ever, ever. The guests were crazy, Megan says. Thank you for watching the whole thing. They were crazy. Thank you so much for $20. From the bottom of my heart, truly, I never take it for granted. It means the world. I just put a spell on Phil. He will wake up tomorrow as a sea turtle, LOL. Timberly, that makes both of us. I also did the same. I wasn't going to say anything, but I hope that's not PEMDAS. Will that cancel out? If I did the sea turtle spell and you did the sea turtle spell, maybe it'll turn into an XL sea turtle, extra large. W. Kimberly, I actually appreciate you so fucking much. Thank you. Matt, thank you so much for $10 on Venmo. You are literally the best. We doing this or what, bro? Bro, is this man here? Oh, he is here. Okay, we could talk to the guy in his pit about. I know he wants to. Rebecca, good to see you. I know. He wants to talk about mental health stuff. Guy in his pit is a dog. He's a dog. I actually love that dude. I'm sorry, Matt. And another $5. Come on, Bubs. Don't hide from me, man. We'll have a good talk. Matt, $15 is actually insane. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bro, why is Cam requesting again? Yeah. Yo, can we get 1,000,000 W's in the chat for guy in his pit? You're literally the best. Allison, thank you so much for $20 on Venmo. Can we get 1,000,000 W's in the chat for Allison? Thought it was the other guy. Can we get 1,000,000 W's in the chat for Allison? I actually appreciate you so much. So much. You're very kind. Truly, I don't ever take that for granted. Ever. Thank you for all the donations. Wow. Valentine's Day is Saturday. I cooked up quite the event here for my lovely girlfriend, and I realize it's Thursday, and like I'm prepared, but there's some moving pieces to my event, and I need to moving piece event it correctly. I'm just speaking out loud now because I saw a comment about Valentine's Day. Leftists need to wake up fast. You are destroying all of our countries. All of our countries? We're destroying all of your countries? You live in multiple countries? Best hair. Someone says this in some. I can't. That username is long, but it starts with this. $5 on YouTube. Best hair. You're the best. I love you so much. Thank you. It's actually insane right now. But thank you so much. I love you and appreciate you. You're literally amazing. I never take that for granted. Thank you. And another $5 from Dark Sunray. They just choose when they want to be right, which isn't based in evidence, is based in feeling. At least they're willing to talk. Thank you again. Yo, Dark Sunray, thank you. You got 1,000,000 W's for chat for Dark Sunray. I appreciate that a lot. Seriously, the love. And you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. Holy shit. All right. Guy in his pit. This guy has been graciously waiting. I'm not sure how long I've got in me, how much time I've gotten me. But this guy right here, he's been so kind. I just accepted him. Where is he? My camera's out of sync. Hello? There we go. Hello? Bro, what? There. Guy, his guest might not be here. L. He left. Damn it. Wow. When I find... Oh, he says he is here. Hello? Oh, there he is. My guy. This guy right here. Donating. Are you okay?
My bad. Oh, fuck.
No, you're...
I took a sip of my drink and I fucking... Yeah.
Don't.
Bad timing.
It's
Bad timing, man.
Sugar Sanders, perfect timing. I just can't. I had to check the blink.
Fuck, it's 3 o'clock here, man. Fucking...
I'm sorry.
Nah, you're good,
dude.
man.
You've been showing so much love, so much support. I actually appreciate it. I'm sorry it's been like multiple days. Talk to me though, man. What's going on?
I mean, dude, you know, we talked a while back, you know, and you know, my big thing is I'm not a political person, right? Like that's never been my thing. I got into politics here. Hold on, because I don't like doing this whole hiding behind a fucking whatever screen. I like, you know, put my face on the screen so people. I also like to vape, so I might have to turn it off, you know, for a second so you don't get violated or whatever. But it's just, you know, I mean, I do support Trump, right? And I got my reasons for that. And my reasons are more than just what's seen on TV, what's put out there. It's based on. So I live in the DMV, right? You know, my sister's neurosurgeon was Ben Carson.
Oh, that's
Only
right. That's
reason,
right. I remember this.
the only reason why she's still alive. You know, when I was, you know, 10, 12, 13 years old, I was a little shithead
Fee, good to
and
see you.
fucking not doing anything in school because I didn't like school. You know, I got sat down by him and he fucking talked me into, you know, school's important, all that kind of stuff. He got invited to the National Prayer Breakfast by Obama, and he kind of like low key fried Obama in that process because like he was a Republican, you know, and I don't know why they invited him, and he kind of, you know, said his little piece, and he got pushed into politics after that, and he was going to retire as a neurosurgeon, as the chief neurosurgeon or whatever the title is at Johns Hopkins. And he came to my sister and he said, Emily, I'm retiring. And she said, the fuck you are. You're not. She's like, you know, I got 3 years left in this unit. He was a pediatric, you know, neurosurgeon. I got 3 years left. You ain't going nowhere until that time is done. And he did. And if you look back on the history of him after the National Prayer Breakfast and when he got into politics, he did. I think he left like a year earlier, but she was doing well. And like I said, never really got big into politics. But, you know, when somebody that you grew up with, somebody that you knew personally was running for a president, you kind of pay attention a little bit. And then Trump got elected, and I was like, this is going to be either a disaster or it's going to be a fucking comedy show. Because, I mean, when he first got elected, everybody was kind of just like, you know, I mean, he's not a politician. He's, you know, the apprentice guy, you know, he's, you know, it's not like, it was hard to believe that he would actually do anything good. And I'm not one of those people that sits here and says that he's perfect or that he's great or that he doesn't have any skeletons hidden in his closet. But the one thing that I think, for one, myself, I think a majority of the population has noticed is so many things are said about him that are consistently proven to be not true. And it's just hard to get behind all that stuff. It's like, why are we all like, I mean, like, I'm all for like bringing, like, I want things to, I want to bring people together, man. Like, I don't want all the bullshit. I don't want all the arguments. It seems like there's been a divide in the country ever since he came along. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's because at the same time you got some non-politician dude that comes in a place where all this stuff starts coming about. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, and being a business owner, we did well in his first term. Things went downhill during Biden's term. This term again, I mean, if you just looking at gas prices, man, like you can't deny gas is going down. Like, you know, there's little things that play into it where it's like, you know, I mean,
Oh, wait, are you still here?
no, I'm still here.
Oh, my bad, yo. I thought, yo, my bad. I was looking down on the right. It's just like so small. I thought he was frozen. My bad. Yeah. So a couple things here. First of all, you know, a guy in his pit here has been He's been very supportive to chat. He's sent some Venmos. He's a good guy. He's in the chat. He might be a Trump supporter, but listen, you didn't hear me say this. We've got some leeway here, Chad. Just trust me. Watch this. Well, look, a couple things. I think it's also possible simultaneously that although you say, look, you say I want to bring people together, but I mean, I would like to ask like what the provably false things are about that have been said about Trump so often. But before I go there, like I actually look at it from like a different angle. You say I don't think it's a coincidence that Trump comes in, he's not a politician, and then all these things start and things get so divided. And instead of believing that it's because Trump is doing something, let's say, good or kind of rooting out the deep state, let's say, I'm just making examples. I believe it's because Donald Trump is like when he got in office, I mean, he's not a politician. He's never been in government. So he's probably going to be like just even if you love him on the government point, but like on just the how to run the government, he's probably not going to do a great job because he's never done it. And certainly being a TV, like a TV host, he's going to be very, let's say, a significantly less professional than most politicians, which is going to, I think, understandably for a lot of people.
Yes, that's arguable though. I mean, because the reality is like you look at a lot of the politicians, like what is their background? What do they really have to offer?
Well, I mean, a lot of people.
It's been proven that like a lot of, Republicans and Democrats. I'm not even going to say one side or the other, but we can both agree there are plenty of politicians out there who are absolute effing morons.
Sure,
I know. I mean, I work with a lot of politicians. I've had the pleasure. I don't even want to say the pleasure. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of them. I do a lot of work with a lot of them, and I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I think I got some brain cells, and I've just seen. I don't really think all of them are. It's more of a who you know and who knows you type of deal. Living in this area, you kind of like know how that game works a little bit. Like personally, like what I think, I would love to see. So you got like big CEOs, right? They make a ton of money. I would love to see the president.
Like $1.5 billion in a year because he's like selling cryptocurrencies and selling shoes and selling Bibles and selling phones.
Most of the stuff that he's doing, most of his business, is being ran by his daughter. He's not really involved in like that day-to-day business. But here's my thing on Trump, because here's the thing. Like, I don't know him personally. You don't know him personally. None of us really know him personally, right? So, like, it's hard to really say to be exact. But give me a second. So, you got this. My theory on him is...
Someone said $3 to $4 billion. That's probably true. I don't know the exact... It's billions, though, this year, yes.
But he had more before. I got a whole laundry list of notes I can pull up, but it's hard to do it in like real, live conversation. But my thing is, he's either so narcissistic that he wants to be the best president and will do everything that he can to be the best president, or he genuinely wants to, do something. If you look at it, like the guy had a pretty cush life, right?
Right. Well, here's
why would he jump into this arena?
Sure.
To get shit on for the last. Not only shit on, to have his life threatened, multiple assassination attempts. Why would he keep doing that when he could just be chilling, playing golf every day? I love golf.
I actually think that's a Good question. I can answer it. Well, first of all, I want to point out, like, again, yeah, some of the things, like, from Donald Trump specifically, like, he's made an I can speak so big. He's made a lot of money off his cryptocurrencies. You know, Trump coin is down like 99% year to date. Melania coin is down 99% year to date. These are events that he held actually White House dinners for. You know, the top 25, or I'm sorry, the top 220 investors by dollar amount got to come to the White House and have dinner with Donald Trump. And actually, the top investor in that cryptocurrency by dollar amount got to, oh, what? No, bro. Guy in his pit, you got a violation, my guy. You got a violation. What it? Guy in his pit. What did you do? I don't know. It just said his live might have themes that are not suitable. It just said that Guy in his pit might have themes in his live that are not suitable for viewers. For misinformation. No, it could have been. Well, listen, hold on, Guy in his pit. Hold on. But let me just finish this thought really quick before I lose it. Yeah. So, like, again, we've seen Donald Trump sell cryptocurrencies, his cryptocurrency. The Trump organization makes money off every trade, the trading fees. Again, both coins down literally 99%. People have like lost their life savings in this, because if they port their life savings, it's gone. But also, like, you know, top investors got to go to the White House. We literally learned in the last 2 weeks. What did we learn? We literally learned in the last 2 weeks that there was at least one foreign investment of like $500 million from I think somewhere in Saudi Arabia. I'd have to go recheck this, but obviously like a potential major conflict of interest where he as a human being is personally benefiting from his cryptocurrency, and he's selling essentially power. He's selling like the ability to, you know, oh, it's not power, just go to the White House. The number one investor of his cryptocurrency was a Chinese national by the name of Justin Sun, who the SEC actually filed a lawsuit against for fraud in 2023, along with, it was Justin Sun, Jake Paul, like a bunch of other people, because he's like defrauded a bunch of people. The SEC's case was super, super strong. All of a sudden, Justin Sun pours, like, I think the numbers, and take this with a grain of salt, but it was between $30 and $40 million into Trump coin. He was the number one investor by dollar amount. And he also spent $75 million investing in World Liberty Financial, which directly partners with the Trump organization. And those two together in a direct partnership, they like do stuff in the cryptocurrency world. And then all of a sudden, his lawsuit at the SEC was dropped. So that's a great example. Donald Trump literally selling, "Hey, I will drop I will drop this," in for a bunch of money. And the SEC, people anonymously, the SEC saying like it was pretty stunning to watch it drop. They gave no official reason besides we are going to reassess our previous charges, and we'll get back to you. And they never did that, along with him selling a phone, which he personally, you say, you know, he's not in